Hello, my little farmlings. I come here today with some incredibly good news. You see, I was gonna put more time in between this video and the GOAT of every team video, but listen, the idea for this video was just too juicy. I just had to start talking about it because I feel like it fits my channel. We got the WOT Opper player, the WOT of 2024. I mean, that WOT player video probably kickstarted this entire channel, so it only makes sense for me to talk about the worst player in every Counter-Strike team's history. And I do also want to say, looking back at last video, I don't think it had enough structure. I kind of just started yapping about who I thought the GOAT of every team was, and my knowledge of 1.6 is honestly fairly limited. I am a fetus, so I wasn't really as in-depth as I wanted it to be. So for this one, I'm going to set some more ground rules and have a little bit more structure. I'm going to be doing the top 20 teams currently on the VRS rankings, with just a couple bonus teams that are very close to the top 20 and are fairly historically relevant, so I do want to talk about them. Along with this, I'm only going to do CSGO to CS2 because this is all based off of HLTV ranking. I don't want this video to just be all IGLs. So obviously, if you're an IGL, you get some grace. If the team was halfway decent with you calling, if you won tournaments, the IGLs will get a little bit of grace, especially if they're legends. They have to have at least 50-ish maps played with the team. If it's like low 40s, then we can round. It's not that big of a deal, but at least around 50 maps played. Hello guys, editing me here. Something I forgot to mention is this will all also be rated off of HLTV rating 1.0. It's the only rating they had at the beginning of CSGO, so it's just the best way to compare old players with new players. And I think that's it. So with that out of the way, this video won't be as subjective as the last one. I'm just giving you guys the raw numbers and telling you how it is. The worst player in Mongolz history is someone by the name of Azteca. He'd play with Mongolz on two separate occasions, once in 2018 and once semi-recently in 2023. With these two stints, he'd play 88 maps with the team and post a 0.79 rating. Furious mention. Anyways, Azteca's first stint in 2018 would be shorter than the one in 2023, where Mongolz didn't really do much of anything. They just mainly bombed out of qualifiers. This was so early on in the Mongolz organization's history that they were still just kind of there. They weren't really a competitor in anything, to be honest. Although, during his stint in 2023, he would actually play some tier 1 tournaments. At IEM Rio, they'd come in 9th to 12th place, beating Imperial with Fallen and losing to Heroic in NAVI. At this event, he'd post a 0.74 rating. They'd then play at the Paris Major Challenger stage, but sadly go 1-3, only beating Gamer Legion, which looking back is actually an insane result considering those fuckers made the final. Anyways, at that event, Azteca would drop a 0.81 rating. Then they would also play at IEM Cologne, where they would come in last place and he would drop a 0.8 rating. He basically was dropping like bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel IGL ratings. I don't even really think there's many IGLs today that are even dropping this low of ratings. He simply wasn't built for tier 1. I hate to say it. But today, there is some good news. He is 27 and plays for Nomads with a 0.97. So slightly better in tier 4. Sadly for Vitality, the WOT has to be Apex. I mean, he can't really frag.
Somehow makes it out.
How is he alive, Jim? And it's going to be the two-man swing.
He only has a 0.28 rating in his time with the team. He's boosted by better players around him, and every tournament he's won has been a fluke. How long can I keep this bit going until the Frenchies leave various slurs in the comments? Of course, the worst player in Vitality's history is Kyojin. You probably know of Kyojin. He'd play 134 maps with Vitality around the end of COVID time in late 2021, and during his time with the team, he would post a 0.92 rating, which drops to a 0.87 on LAN. And I mean, if you go to his LAN events with the team, there's not even a semblance of green. We aren't within a 50-mile radius of green. And of course, Vitality would still be good with him on the team because they have ZywOo. So of course they would win one tier 1 LAN with him, which means Kyojin has more tier 1 LAN wins than Zantares does. Anyways, he was basically just dead weight for this team during the time he played. And once he was finally cut, it was like ZywOo turned into Rock Lee when he finally took off his training weights. He could finally actually play with real players after they removed him. As of today, Kyojin is not playing for any team, and I think he's pretty much retired from Counter-Strike at this point. Yeah, I don't know exactly what he's doing, but it's not CS anymore. When we get to Furia, things get slightly goofy. I was going to put Junior as the Furia WOT, but I'm going to slightly stretch the rules for this one like I said I would earlier. Honda has only played 46 maps with the team, but I'm going to round it up to 50 because he has nearly a full 0.1 rating worse than Junior. I mean, it's rough, man. And of course, Kai was also in contention, but I think he only played like mid-30s maps with the team. Anyways, Honda would be added from Furia's academy team as a 6th player in 2021 and did not do great in the 16 maps he played as a sub, only posting a 0.84 rating. I do kind of feel for him here because playing as a sub is very strange. It's just kind of a weird situation to be in. But after Junior would leave and he'd take over as an actual player in the team, he would post a slightly better rating, and that slightly better rating would be a 0.89, which of course is not enough to save you. Now, during his time on the team, Furia would actually win a tier 2 online EU tournament, but after coming in 9th to 12th place at IEM Cologne, and with Honda dropping a 0.8 rating there, Furia decided enough was enough and he would be sent back to their academy team, where he would also be benched shortly afterwards. As of today, Honda is currently playing in a random Brazilian mixed team called Players, great name guys, and has a 1.10 rating over the past 3 months. It is in tier 2, tier 3 South America, so it's not anything too crazy, but maybe there is a path forward for Honda. Barmlings, do you like watching Counter-Strike? I would sure hope so, otherwise what are you doing here? If so, and you want to support the channel, check out today's sponsor, Thunderpick. As a professional Counter-Strike yapper myself, I do like to put my money where my mouth is, so I've been personally using Thunderpick for a very long time. A part of the reason why is, look at all of these options. Straight up match winner, handicaps, total maps, exact score predictions, total rounds played in the series, and so much more. Along with this, they have in-depth statistics of everything you could possibly need to make the most informed pick. And honestly, what I love most about it is I am not only a Counter-Strike fan, but an NFL fan. Well, Thunderpick not only has every single esport imaginable, but also regular sports too. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey. I mean, they really do just have everything. And now you can deposit with not only crypto, but card, PayPal, Apple Pay, and pretty much any payment method that exists. Hit the link in the description for a 100% deposit bonus up to $600. And of course, guys, remember to bet safe. If I were you, I'd set a unit size, don't rage bet, all that stuff. Let's all try to get out of here with some money, eh? Anyways, back to the video. The Team Spirit Woad is someone you might actually know if you've been following CS for a long time, and it's someone by the name of Tony Black. Or, if you're also a very old, gray-haired man, you could also call him Kibikin. He'd play 179 maps for the team in 2016 to 2017 and post a 0.94 rating, which, compared to the two players we talked about before, really isn't that bad. It's the best rating we have so far. But a couple things about Tony Black. He has been around the block for a while and actually played with Zeus and NAVI in 2013 for a little bit. And he was also a part of the first ever Spirit roster. That first iteration of Spirit's Counter-Strike team would include Tony Black, Coldy, Softic, Davcost, and Dima. But unfortunately, due to him being so mediocre, he would be the first of this team to leave. After Tony Black would leave Spirit, he would join various Russian mixed teams like Force, Vega Squadron, but his ratings over those years weren't great. In 2017, he'd have a 1 rating, 2018 a 0.98, 2019 a 0.92, 2020 a 0.99, where then after 2020, he wouldn't play for another team and eventually become a coach in 2022. As of today, he is the coach for Nuclear Tigrez. Yeah, so basically the worst player of all time for Falcons is Snappy. I know I said I would give IGL's grace, but he was so individually horrendous with this team, and they did not do anything. The whole team looked horrible, so there's not enough IGL grace to save him from this spot. I don't think Snappy himself is like this terrible, awful player, but his tenure in Falcons cannot be overstated for how just horrible it was. And like I said, I don't think it's all his fault, but he had a 0.88 rating with the team. They had one decent tournament run and then would go on to miss 2 majors. It was horrible all around. He didn't really frag well at all. The whole team looked lost, so it has to be Snappy. Zonix was unfortunately a victim of the switch over from 1.6 to Go. He actually played for Mouz in 1.6 before the game switched, and during this time he was fairly decent, posting a 1.08 rating during his time playing. And overall, Mouz were a very, very good German team. But once him and the Mouz team would switch over to CSGO, like what happened to a lot of 1.6 legends, is he just simply lost his touch. After switching games, he'd post a 0.91 rating over 45 maps, then come back in 2015, play exactly 5 more maps to put him perfectly at 50, and post a 0.74 rating during those 5 maps, to put his total rating on Mouse Sports at a 0.88. And unfortunately, it's not like the team was still good like they were in 1.6. When he played for Mouz, they were pretty atrocious. He was pretty atrocious. It just overall, it's kind of a sad story because he really was not bad in 1.6. But if we're talking about CSGO, he's easily the worst player in Mouz's history. During his time in between playing for Mouz, he would join teams like 3D Max and Alternate Attacks before eventually ending up on Panthers throughout 2017, where he would leave, rejoin in 2019. And I mean, if you look at his stats throughout his history, it is brutal. It looks like the only years where he was fully playing was 2013 and 2014. Yeah, but overall just not great. And the last team he would ever play for would be Panthers in 2019. The bottom 4 rated players in G2's history are Hooksy, Snacks, Alexi B, and Smiths. No matter your opinion of Hooksy or Snacks, they did both win tier 1 tournaments with the team. So for me, it's really between Alexi B and Smiths. Both have had great careers and even won majors outside of G2, but their tenure within the team was honestly pretty rough. When you compare the 2 ratings of them on G2, Alexi B is at a 0.85 and Smiths is at a 0.87. And even though G2 would win a tournament with Smiths on the team, I think I am gonna have to give the vote award to him. The fact that their ratings are even close when Alexi also had the burden of calling and Smiths was an AWPer for like half of the time he was playing. So I mean, if you're using the most broken weapon in CSGO and you're still stinking up the place, almost have the same rating as an IGL, I'm sorry, brother. I gotta give it to you. So like, yeah, G2 would win a single tournament with him on the team, but after around a year of playing for G2, he would step down and become a coach. That's how you know it's over, Red Rover, bro. If you're becoming a coach, it's about time to pack it up. Now, after becoming a coach of G2, Smiths would eventually return to playing, but when he returned to G2 in 2018, he would post a 0.83 rating. I mean, that is just that is so rough. He would then go on to be benched in November of 2018, and that last stint with G2 would be the last time he'd play for a real team. So now he's fully retired, and he would never actually go into coaching after he would coach for a little bit on G2. He just decided he had enough. He was officially done. Aurora is a slightly goofy one to talk about because they've been a tier 2 Russian team for a majority of their existence, but the EF Corps brought them up here, so I'm gonna talk about them. The worst player in Aurora's history is a Russian rifler named Delusion. Similar to Tony Black, he was on the first ever Aurora roster, along with Chiron, Lack1, Railway, and Sugar. Now, the really bad news for Delusion is he was their worst player, along with being their AWPer. If you're the lowest rated player and you're AWPing and you're not even calling, that is just, it's rough all around. During his time in the team, he would post a 0.94 rating in 47 maps, which honestly, a 0.94 isn't that bad, but still the worst in the organization's history. Then, after being cut in January of 2023, he would never play for a team again. The worst player in NAVI's history is actually the current IGL and GOAT of Bait, NPL. This poor little sap barely beat out C9 for the WOT spot. During his time on the team, from December 2022 to June 2023, he would play 66 maps and post a 0.87 rating. The good news is it does go up to a 0.92 if you use rating 2.0, I guess, but like still pretty rough. Realistically, he was just absolutely not ready for tier 1. He should have never come up from their academy team in the first place. Like when he was on their academy team, he was fine. He posted a 1.07, but you normally want to be a little bit more dominant in tier 2, tier 3 if you're going to move up to tier 1. Overall, it was just a disastrous tenure with the team. I think Simple probably wanted to murder him. But the good news, he still is very young. He's only 20 years old at the time of me making this video. And he has absolutely flourished on Bait as their star player and IGL. So I think the future for NPL is fairly bright. The worst player in Astralis' history is unfortunately Cadian. And similar to Snappy, him being an IGL just can't save him in this situation. The team was pretty atrocious when he was IGLing, and along with that, he just wasn't fragging at all. It was kind of a weird situation because he was switching for the first time in his career from being an AWPer to being a rifler, and he just is not, he was not built for it at all. In his 114 maps played with the team, he would have a 0.81 rating and a negative 358 KD difference. It was just, the Cadian fall off is so sad to see, man. I don't know if it's necessarily all his fault, but It genuinely is not close. He is easily the worst player in their history. And during his time in the team, their best result was like a 3rd place finish at PGL Cluj-Napoca. Like, they look fine there. He also dropped a 0.85 rating at that event, so he was just not fragging ever. And overall, they just consistently bombed out of tournaments. The final straw is when they finally bombed out of the Blast Austin Major RMR, or I guess, is it the RMR or the MRQ? Okay, it was the Blast Austin Major MRQ. They bombed out against Bait. That was the final straw. And Cadian has not found another team since his time on Astralis. So I think it was unfortunately so atrocious. No one is willing to give him a chance anymore. You know, I'd say it's time to hang it up. Go be an analyst. Go be a caster. Go try that out. But Cadian's time playing is probably cooked. Now, some people in the last video did mention that 3D Max has been around for quite a while, not just like the more recent iterations of the team. They had a team in 1.6, this is true. They also had a team in the early days of CSGO with some legends on it. Guardian has played for 3D Max. Mo, yes, the streamer Mo has played for 3D Max.
Babe, what's wrong? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What? I'm in a fight. You know I'm streaming. What do you want?
Dupree's played for 3D Max. Our boy Zonix has played for 3D Max, like I said earlier. AZ, Glaive, MSL, Pimp have all played for 3D Max. Alu has played. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have played for 3D Max. They do have a fairly deep history. Now, none of these players were on the team for very long. And well, the WOT of this team is actually someone who played on the more recent iterations when they came back in 2018. And it is a man by the name of Jinx. Jinx would join 3D Max in June of 2018. And during his 258 maps played for the team, he would have a 0.91 rating and a negative 449 KD difference, which is, you know, it's pretty rough, man. After his time on 3D Max, he would play for teams like French Frogs, Heretics, and LDLC, but his time on these teams also wouldn't really go that well. He would consistently post like 0.92, 0.93 ratings, and after he would leave LDLC in December of 2019, he would never go on to play for a team again. The Faze worst player of all time, and I hate to do this to him because he is a legend, but the worst player in Faze's history is absolutely Neo. I'm once again rounding because he would only play 45 maps with the team, but do you guys remember that short period of time where he would join and be the team's IGL? Well, during this time, he would post a 0.82 rating and have a negative 166 KD difference. That is impressive in only 45 maps, and unfortunately, due to the team's lack of success with him calling, and then finally not making the playoffs of the Star Ladder Berlin Major in 2019, he'd be booted in September of 2019 and eventually go on to play for some tier 2 teams for a while before eventually transitioning into a coach in 2023, where he would then go on to coach the team where he played his worst Counter-Strike at. And as of today, Neo is still the coach of Faze, so good work, Neo. You just unfortunately did not have the juice when you were playing for this team. The worst player in Tyloo's history is absolutely without a doubt Advent. Have you guys seen Advent play? It is actually like, it's a miracle to even be able to witness it. You watch Advent spray and it's like you're watching a shooting star in the sky, really. Advent is kind of one of the old guard Chinese players. He would go on to have honestly quite a bit of success calling for Vici Gaming. They'd win quite a few B tier tournaments and even make the finals of some A tier tournaments. And after that success on Vici, he would eventually join Tyloo in 2023. And well, his time in CS2 on Tyloo was it was a little rough. During his 97 maps with the team, he would post a 0.73 rating and have a negative 445 KD. A 0.73. I don't care if you're calling. A 0.73 is generational. That cannot be real life. And if you guys want to be entertained for a while, watch Advent at the last tournament he'd play with the team, ESL Pro League Season 19. It's crazy. Like watching him play with other tier 1 players is a sight to behold, let me tell you what. Yeah, anyways, after that ESL Pro League event, he would go on to retire, and now I think he's a streamer in the Chinese scene, so good for you, Advent, honestly. The worst player in Team Liquid's history is a one-time major winner, number 3 player in the world, number 8 player in the world, number 13 player in the world, and number 6 player in the world, Shox. Now, listen, I get it, okay? Shox is the GOAT, okay? He's one of the best French players of all time. And I agree, Shox is an animal. But in his 65 maps that he played on Liquid, he would post a 0.87 rating. it was not pretty. I feel like most people forget he even played for Liquid because the time was just such an atrocious time for him and the team. After being benched on Liquid in June of 2022, he would go on to play for Apex and Nakama. And after leaving Nakama in May of 2023, that would be Shox' last ever team. So unfortunately for him, he kind of joined Liquid when they were dysfunctional, and he was like at the very end of his career. It was just a horrible storm. It was never gonna work. And well, because of that atrocious time period for Shox and Liquid, he's got to be the Liquid woe. Pain actually surprisingly has almost no bad players in their entire history. Every single player who's in the red has played 12 maps or less, and their worst player is actually Nizin, who has 85 maps played, but his rating is a 0.97, which, all things considered, if you're the worst player in an organization, that's really not that bad. And the thing about Nizin is he never actually joined the team. He's been on Pain Academy since January of 2023 and would stand in for the main roster various different times before having to be an official like stand-in where it wasn't just for one-off games. After their starting player Nissim would have to go back to Sharks due to his loan expiring, Nizin would have to stand in for Pain in April 2024, where he would play 53 maps with the team and post a 0.98 rating, which all things considered for a stand-in really isn't that bad. Then after Snow would eventually join Pain, he would once again go back to their academy team, stand in for them a couple more times. So like every single game this guy played for Pain, he was just a stand-in from their academy team, and he still didn't even play that bad. But after he would play in Pain for that month, he would go play for Case, then he would go play for Red Canids, and as of today, he is currently benched on Bounty Hunters. So overall, like, I don't think Nizin is really that bad of a player. He's just mostly a stand-in, and overall, like, there's really no bad players in Pain's history. There are really two players in contention for the worst player in Gamer Legion's history, and that's Adam 9130 and Existence. But when Adam was IGLing this team, they were really not relevant at all. They were like tier 3. And when Existence was IGLing, they actually had some kind of exciting players. Like, don't get me wrong, they were all completely washed. But when Existence was IGLing Gamer Legion, they had players like Campus, Knock, Scream, and HS. So they were more like, you know, decent tier 2. So I'm gonna have to give it to Existence. I know he was IGLing, but they really weren't good with him IGLing. And in his 77 maps with the team, he would post a 0.91 rating and have a negative 227 KD. So it's just kind of one of those situations where like the IGL isn't fragging at all, and they're not really winning anything, even with like having somewhat like halfway decent players. And Existence's tenure with Gamer Legion would only last from March of 2019 to June of 2019. And after he would leave the team in 2019, he would never go on to play for another team again. The worst player in Lin Vision's history is someone by the name of Zincoin. He posted a 0.88 rating. The worst player in NIP's history is the current IGL of Gamer Legion ZTR. Similar to NPL, he would be brought into the team where he just wasn't ready, but would eventually find success in a tier 2 team as their IGL. And I'd say he's elevated Gamer Legion into more of a tier 1.5 team now. And similar to Nizin, he never was actually brought into the team as a permanent player. After Twist would be benched in 2021, he would be brought in from their academy team as a stand-in. And during his time standing in and playing for the team, he would post a 0.86 rating on 71 maps played. He would also have a negative 223 KD. So like he was bad on the team, okay? He was not good at all, but he was standing in from their academy team. There was just a complete dysfunction within NIP in 2021. It sucks that he, you know, has to be the worst player. It is what it is. I don't really blame him. And it's not like he's an incredible fragger on Gamer Legion, but he is definitely not as bad as he was on NIP. When the Virtus Plow team was beginning to completely fall apart, they would surround Snacks with just a bunch of random Polish players. Snatchy, Mihu, Veggie, and the worst player in VP's history, Okalicious, I think is how you say his name. He'd be added in May of 2019, and during his 79 maps with the team, he'd post a 0.85 rating with a negative 230 KD. Now, I don't know what VP saw in this rifler, like no offense, but before joining, he had a 1.06 in 2018 in tier 2. In 2017, a 1.0 rating in tier 2. So throughout his time playing, he was very mediocre in tier 2. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to have him join VP. But after getting kicked in July of 2019, he would go on to once again return to random tier 2 teams. Wouldn't really last very long in any of them, and eventually play on his last team in June of 2022 on NLG. And finally, the number 20 ranked team as of me recording this on the VRS rankings, Bait. Their worst player in their history is someone by the name of Amster. In his 250 maps played with the team, he posted a 0.94 rating and a negative 578 KD. He'd be a right player on the team from August 2022 to January of 2024, where he would eventually be benched. And as of recently, he's played for ECF, Kono, and Leo, where he currently plays today. And on Leo so far, he has a 1.01 rating, which is, you know, it's decent. And the last two teams I'll be talking about who are just ranked outside the top 20 at number 21 and number 24 is Heroic and Fnatic. They've been around forever, so we might as well go through them. For Heroic, I hate to do it. It's going to be more IGL hate, but the worst player in their history is Asilion. In his 132 maps played for the team, he posted a 0.92 rating and had a negative 290 KD. During his time calling for the team, they'd be like a meh, number 18-ish ranked team in the world. They wouldn't really do anything impressive ever. They would win a couple, like, tier 2 tournaments, but not great. You know, the team wasn't great with him on it. He wasn't really fragging and killing anyone. And for Fnatic, to end us off, it's unfortunately even more IGL hate, but I think this one might be some of the most valid IGL hate on the list. He's dope. Okay, he's been a legend at points in his career, but he has perfectly 50 maps played for the team, so I feel like it's just destiny. The vote for Fnatic is Dexter. During his 50 maps played for the team, he had a 0.82 rating and a negative 184 KD. And while he did have some fairly cool ups on Mouz, we saw none of that with Fnatic. The team was really bad under his leadership at pretty much every event they played in. It was kind of a mess with him on that team. Yeah, I think that's it, Smellies. I think maybe I'll make another one of these with a bunch of the older teams like SK, NV, old NA teams like Cloud9, NRG, EG. We'll have to see. But if you guys do want another one of these, let me know by liking the video, subscribing to my channel, post notifications on. And that's it, Garmlings. I will see you later.